Some say it was the iconic character Mickey Mouse that made Walt Disney, and not the other way round. Whichever way you look at it, there's no denying that Walt Disney helped spawn modern animation. Walt Disney may have created Mickey Mouse, but it was American cartoonist Floyd Gottfredson who helped the iconic mouse rise to stardom. He drew a total of 15,000 copies of the Mickey Mouse comic strips over his 45-year career. In 1926, Walt Disney established his own company, naming it after himself. In 1930, he started the Mickey Mouse strip in a newspaper. Soon after that, the Mickey Mouse cartoon was born. After Mickey Mouse's popularity soared, Disney introduced his iconic character to Hollywood, hoping to bring him to the big screen. Mickey Mouse's popularity would reach new heights after he was paired up with another character that would go on to become a superstar, Donald Duck. The animation itself was groundbreaking, along with its uses of comedy and human emotions and characteristics. All of it was packaged into an entertaining work that left audiences laughing and intrigued. Children across the world can instantly identify Disney's most iconic characters. Mickey Mouse made the jump to the big screen from humble beginnings as a comic strip, and it would be this marriage of print comics and animation that would help bring both art forms to unimagined levels of success. Cartoonists have an instinctive passion for animation. As technology advanced, cartoons which were once limited to the page would come to life on screen. Another well-known animated series that started out as a comic is The Smurfs. The Smurfs was created by Pierre Goulifour, a Belgian cartoonist. Goulifour loved painting from childhood. The little blue creatures, just a bit taller than the grass they were walking through, had been supporting characters in another book. But children loved them, and Goulifour was inspired to create a comic strip specifically for them. The Smurfs would eventually rise to global stardom. At the time, Goulifour was only 25 years old, but the Smurfs would go on to be translated into 25 languages, with its animated adaptation being broadcast in over 60 countries.
哦，蓝宝宝，我刚好能抓到你呀！
原来你们在那儿啊！我们还以为你已经完成这项工作了呢。
对不起，蓝爸爸。对 对不起了，如果不是蓝宝宝，我迟早就可以完成。
这淘气的小孩变得越来越厉害了。哦，太好了，真可爱！我帮你照顾他吧。你今天就好好的利用你的时间吧。
真的吗，蓝爸爸？
在这个村庄里，你干的活都与你的本分。
谢谢你，蓝爸爸。
这没什么，不用客气。
一会儿见，蓝宝宝。
In 1989, a Smurfs theme park was officially opened in Metz, France, to compete with Disneyland.
另外，你们有什么建议？
我建议马上试一试这一块魔法布，这是个很好的办法，把这块布盖在我的身上，怎么样啊？
Over 5 decades, the Smurfs have spread far and wide.
有很多可能性的。
101 blue Smurfs live happily in their forest. But the wizard Gargamel and his cat Azrael are always plotting against them, hoping to add them to his soup. The constant conflicts between the Smurfs and Gargamel allow for many interesting stories.
抓到了！好了，现在我会把你带回我的家了。走吧，宝贝儿。哎呦，不！哦不！你要去哪儿？蓝宝宝不要啊！
Smurfs always deal with situations in a unique way, fostering their simple and friendly personalities with their adventures. The way the Smurfs learn to understand things is a valuable cognitive experience for children, helping stimulate their creativity. The Smurfs, living in their near-perfect community, convey love and friendship. Each Smurf has strengths and weaknesses, and this means that they are dependent on each other. The classic work reflects the truth, goodness, and beauty in a fantasy world that embraces humanity, wisdom, and humour. In 1952, Astro Boy, a science fiction comic series created by Japanese cartoonist Osamu Tezuka, was serialized in a local manga magazine. Astro Boy created a sensation shortly after being introduced to the world, and the animated series would also go on to see great success. From China, East Asia, the US and Europe, Astro Boy would become a household name. The anime not only delighted children, but also ended the negative stigma attached to comics, as parents would eventually go on to encourage their children to read them. Due to its success, Osamu Tezuka would go on to be known as the god of manga. In order to meet the needs of its rapid development, writers specializing in science fiction, mystery and other genres were brought in to create very vivid stories. Adding professional writers to the animation industry helped take the art to new heights in Japan. This trend in Japanese anime gradually engendered a culture of tolerance and breadth, which many other countries simply did not have. It combined the outstanding skills of elite artists from multiple disciplines, helping bring the animation industry to a level not seen anywhere else. Its impact made anime into a national pillar industry in Japan, and today's artists are still following suit. Doraemon, adapted in 1979 from Fujiko Fujio's popular comic, is a classic science fiction animation series. Doraemon is a robotic cat from the future that helps his owner Nobita Nobi get through difficulties with his magic pocket and various wonderful tools. The chubby blue cat brings people into a wonderful, imaginative world. Doraemon has since become an iconic image that has been part of childhood for countless generations. A brief and unpopular animated series in 1973, Doraemon was produced again as anime in 1979. This series achieved unprecedented popularity in Japan, and this success has continued to this day. Doraemon focuses on many small stories full of childhood fantasies, emphasizing the development of imagination rather than plot lines. From a production standpoint, it features simple technical movements, basic conceptual picture processing, and none of the spectacular scenes or special effects found in other types of science fiction animes. But on an artistic level, its sense of performance and exaggeration is quite appropriate, and it takes advantage of being simple and approachable to seize the hearts of children. These techniques have helped it to become one of the most popular animations for children. The series Saint Seiya, based on cartoonist Kurumada Masami's manga of the same name, is definitely an indelible childhood memory for those born in the 1970s. It would go on to be adapted into an animated series, being intermittently broadcast for up to 20 years. It's since become a classic of Japanese anime.
たとえ神といえども、愛を知らぬあなたに人を罰する資格などありません。
アテナ、言うことはそれだけか。ならば愛の力など何の力にもならぬことを思い知って死ぬがよい。アテナは撃たせる。なんだこの者たちのコスモは。信じられん。死に損ないの彼らのコスモがこのハーデスを圧するとは。
ハーデス、これが愛です。人間の持つ偉大なる力、命の源から湧き上がってくる愛の力。それは何者にも負けることはないのです。
まさか。やった、ついにハーデスを打ち破ったぞ。見たか聖夜、僕たちは勝ったんだよ。
There's a fairly close connection between live animation and comic books in Japan. In fact, it's hard to strictly distinguish animators from cartoonists, as they usually work in both worlds. A lot of animators are also cartoonists, and a lot of animated series have been adapted from comic books. After a comic sees success in the comic book world, it's quickly adapted into a live animated series. Hayao Miyazaki began to serialize his full-length comic Nausicaa in the Valley of Wind in Animage in 1982, and he adapted it into a film in 1984. The animated film was a huge success, and it laid the foundation for Hayao Miyazaki's position in the anime world. Since then, Hayao Miyazaki has turned his focus to animation.
キツネリス、私初めて。
こいつがハムシにさらわれたのを人のこと間違えてな、つい銃を使ってしまったのだ。
それであんなにオウムが怒ったのね。
気絶しておったので毒を吸わなかったようだ。いや、手は出さん方がいい。チビでも凶暴だ。
おいで。さあ。
おい。
ほら、怖くない。怖くない。ほらね、怖くない。ね。怯えていただけなんだよね。
In 1980, Akira Toriyama began to serialize his full-length series Dr. Slump. Its comedic plot won universal praise, and it quickly set off a craze for Dr. Slump all across Japan. Dr. Slump was adapted into an animated series in 1981. The irregular dialect that the character Aralur speaks quickly spread throughout the country, becoming a popular form of slang. In fact, many Japanese people simply call 1981 the year of Aralur. The serialization of Dr. Slump ended in 1984, but just 3 months later, Akira Toriyama began to serialize his enduring masterpiece Dragon Ball in Weekly Shonen Jump. It lasted for an unprecedented 10 years, causing a greater sensation than Dr. Slump. After the animated version was broadcast in 1986, Akira Toriyama reached the peak of his career. Toriyama planned to move due to the heavy traffic around his neighborhood, but in order to retain him, the local government specifically built an expressway from his house to the airport. This is how revered Akira Toriyama is in Japan. The Prince of Tennis is a comic series about a group of young students from a tennis club competing for the national championship. Takusho Konomi began the serialization of The Prince of Tennis in 1999. It's one of the most successful sports-themed anime following Takehiko Inoue's Slam Dunk. The Prince of Tennis, however, has a total of 379 chapters. After the comic was adapted into an animated series, it set off a boom for tennis across Japan. The animated version of The Prince of Tennis retains the original character design of the comic.
寸分の狂いもない。そして次にお前はドロップショットを打って勝負に出る。だがそうはさせない。
The Prince of Tennis features both exciting matches and campus-like humor. Besides its exaggerations and some factual errors about the sport, fans still passionately adore it. China also has a history of turning comics into animated series. The puppet film Wanderings of Sanmao, produced by the Shanghai Animation Film Studio in 1958, is one of them.
帮帮忙！过来！哎，我给你钱。过来！快点儿，我给你钱。啊？
With the development of animation techniques, Sanmao hit the screen again and again, and its image drew closer and closer to Zhang Leping's original comic. Besides this, there are few classic animations based on comics. Yao Fei-la can be described as a pioneer in China's animation industry chain. Yao has brought serialization, book publication, TV animation, animated film production, and related product merchandising all together. His representative work, The Dreaming Girl, was adapted into an animated series of the same name by China Central Television at a cost of nearly 10 million yuan. It was the first large-scale youth-themed animation in China based on a comic, and it was also one of the 10 animated programs officially recommended by the government. The animation Shaolin was adapted from famous Taiwan cartoonist Sai Che-chung's classic comic Shaolin Temple. It presents the story of Bodhi Dharma's preaching in a humorous comic style. Enriched with the culture of Shaolin Temple, it tells the story of disciples from Shaolin and Wudang participating in a martial arts tournament. The animation has adopted a modern style of interpretation, helping today's generation learn about the subject easily and freely. The digital age has delivered new techniques for people to read comics. This new technology has injected new vitality into the world of comics. Please join us for part 6 of our series, From Pen to Screen, The Digital Age of Comics.